Because our pleasure scripts are often written by other people and then carried out unexamined by us, we simply perpetuate the status quo. If you want to change your relationship with pleasure, with what you believe is great about your body, you have to look at it and engage with it a little bit more. Learn to appreciate certain pieces of it. See it for what it is instead of always seeing for what it's not. Baby, I know that a lot of us know that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. But what a lot of us don't know is that it's also National Masturbation Month, which is, I think, a beautiful way for both of these nationally celebrated months to actually come together. Pun intended. We're going to talk a little bit about how self pleasuring and mental health go together right after the intro. And welcome back to another episode of The Daily Donna with me, your host, Dr. Donna Oriowo, sex and relationship therapist in Washington, D.C. metro area, author of Drink Water and Mind Your Business, A Black Woman's Guide to Unlearning the BS and Healing Self-Esteem. We also started with the book. I was reading from page 186 on the pursuit of pleasure. Now, that piece that I was reading is about how we even come to understand pleasure. A lot of us have been taught that pleasure is something extra that you could get, and that the place where you will most likely see pleasure come into play is sexually in many ways. I'm not saying that that's the only way. I'm saying that that is the way that we are taught that adults specifically access pleasure. And I was thinking about it because I realized that, we are almost 10 days into the month of May, and that it's my favorite book because it's Masturbation May and Mental Health Awareness Month, and people don't even know how they go together. Here's the thing. Your mental health is already compromised. Your mental well-being is already compromised. Your self-concept is already compromised because somebody already told you that pleasure is something that you do for the weekend. You like 9 to 5 on the weekend. But the whole point being that when you believe that pleasure is a thing that you have to earn, it is easier for you to dismiss yourself as someone who is deserving of good things, not just pleasure, but good things in general, including being treated well by other people. I feel like on this here channel, I have definitely had more than one moment where we have talked about the benefits package of actually engaging in a pleasure practice, including but not limited to page 177 of Drink Water Mind Your Business, that it can reduce the effects of stress and anxiety on the body, that it can increase those endorphin and dopamine levels, it can improve your quality of sleep, boost your immune system, help your circulation, get that muscle tension and pain out of here. It can help to lubricate your cognitive functioning, increase your creativity, improve your relationship with friends, family, lovers, and others, improve your symptoms related to anxiety and depression, digestive health, just to name a few, right? Like these are all part of the pleasure benefits package, the same pleasure that we keep saying it doesn't matter. That pleasure literally matters to your mental health. And it's every time I hear like the sort of dismissal of pleasure as a thing, right? That, oh, we got to be focused on the fight. We got to be focused on this thing. I'm looking like, yes. And because I know that we are people capable of walking and chewing gum at the same time, also find some space for pleasure. Because high key, low key, a lot of us have really high capacity for BS. What we don't have is a great capacity for pleasure. Our pleasure cup, it be this small, but our capacity for BS is arms. It's a whole big old cup. Babe, this is not good, healthy, right, safe, or sane. With this grand difference in our capacity for pleasure versus BS, it plays a role on our mental emotional well-being as well. So when I say have more pleasure and you say but that's indulgent, and I don't need that. And what I really need to be is productive, and what I really need to do is get the work, and what I really need to do is give me list of to do list items. What I'm hearing you say is that you're not important enough to have pleasure. And I don't know if that's what the message that you intend to share with other people, but that's what I'm picking up, right? Like I'm picking up what you're putting down, and what you're putting down is that you aren't important. And I need us to go ahead and get past that. Now, where it comes to the master of Asian, Master Bay Sean, recognize that a lot of us we have our own sort of hangups around it, whether or not it is appropriate for you to do in a relationship, whether or not God frowns upon it. There's a lot of messages that a lot of us have received about self-pleasuring and its impact on us overall. But I will say that generally speaking, that there's this t-shirt that I have. And maybe there's this picture that I could put up, but being the master of Asian is a form of meditation. How do you know? It can be a form of meditation because think about what the meditative process is specifically asking you to do. It's asking you to be in the here and now, to not be in your past and to not be in the future, but to be in the here and now, which means to be thinking, feeling, and breathing in the current moment, not thinking and anticipating the future moment, not lamenting the past moment, just to be in the present. So it often asks you to focus on the thing that is happening in the moment, usually your breath, to follow your breath in and to follow your breath out, right? I like to do candlelight meditation. So I will just look at the candle and that is the only thing, not holding on to any thoughts and just letting the thing sort of come and go and come and go. No judgment, no holding on, no any of that. And I sit and I'm doing that for my 10 minutes, my 15 minutes, my 30 minutes. I've not actually gotten to 30 minutes. That's just a lie that I want to tell myself. Actually, I'm calling that bad boy into the future. So I'm saying, come with me, friend. Um, but where it comes to being the master of Asian, that self pleasuring, it too is a form of meditation. Think about it. You are in the present moment. You're not thinking about the past. You're thinking about what is feeling good at that moment. Some could say that maybe you're a little future focused if you're trying to, hurry up and get somewhere, if you are trying to arrive, as it were. But the point is that in the moment, you're probably more grounded in that moment than at any other. And you're grounding that moment, that meditation in your pleasure that does not require your performance for somebody else. It can include a fantasy of your own creation. Um, and at the end of your meditation time, you might arrive. I feel like that's a win win win. Lovers, religion, sort of the expectations about what it means, that those sort of heavy messages about what it means for a person to be in the space of self-pleasuring can have adverse mental health effects, right? And I think the questions that I ask in here are some great questions to actually start with. And I don't just ask these questions in here. I have a 30-day guide for such things. That is also getting an upgrade. So it's kind of like getting where you fit in right now. But because I'm adding like a video component to help you walk you through, because it's a 30-day guide. But part of what this thing does is that you'll learn, like, one of the questions is like, what did you learn about self-pleasuring when you were growing up? How would you characterize your feelings and attitudes about it? In what ways has racism, sexism impacted your experience of pleasure, including shared pleasure and self-pleasuring? In what ways have colorism, texturism, and featurism impacted your practice as well? A lot of these things do impact the practice, and people don't want to think about that. They don't want to talk about that. And this past week, I did several videos that basically speak to the halo and the horn effect, that talk to colorism, texturism, featurism, the way that they show up specifically in the politics of desirability, and who is considered desirable, and whether or not we want how we want people to live and be. It also impacts the sexual practice. And in that impact, that is part of the pleasure scripts that we're talking about. Who deserves pleasure? Who doesn't deserve pleasure? What type of bodies deserve pleasure over other type of bodies? And whether or not, despite the, like, even if we are fighting, even if you're doing a really great job fighting all of these messages, that you may still internalize it to the point where you don't feel like you deserve pleasure. That you may believe that, like, some people say that, like, self-pleasuring is not their thing. Heard. And some of us haven't even explored it as a possibility simply because we believe that pleasure should be limited, or that pleasure is something that we should only be receiving in tandem with other people. If someone else is receiving pleasure, then it's okay if we get residual pleasure, right? So, look, friend, the point is this: I want you to be able to have more pleasure in your life. And I believe that having more pleasure in your life can start with you just answering some questions about what you've learned about it. Not just self pleasuring, but pleasure overall. And not even, when I say not just self pleasuring, I also mean not sexual pleasure, but pleasure overall. Whether or not you've been allowed to have it, what it looks like for you, how you have scripted yourself in pleasure. So when someone says like pleasure script, it just means like the ideas about the thing that sort of run in the back of not pleasurable, including the visual pleasures, the auditory pleasures, the taste, the smells, etc., etc. All of these things are scripted for us, usually by what we get to see versus what we never get to see. That's a conversation for another day. But the point is that people don't be feeling like they're allowed to have any. A lot of us, like, be honest. Do you feel like it is pain that is the ultimate builder of your character? I think that that is a whole other conversation that we could have, because a lot of people believe that it is pain, it is torture, it is abuse that builds the best character, that builds the best work. You can see it in the way that people talk about Michael Jackson, right? They're like, y'all can be upset with Joe Jackson all you want to, but he built that family. And I'm just like, yeah, to what end, right? Again, a conversation for another day. But I wanted to keep this light because it's the weekend, and keeping ourselves satisfied through the weekend. I want you to spend some time thinking about your pleasure and its connection to your mental health. Because, like I said, these 2 months they came together so that you could have a good time, so that you could do, I think, the introspection work to understand how these two things actually connect together. So yeah, in this video I told you a little bit about how self-pleasuring is a form of meditation, which does have mental benefits, mental health benefits, as well as mental health benefits that carry over into your body. So it also brings you physiological benefits. But I mean, that's just out here and in the ether and what the research says. What about for you personally? How does your self pleasure and how does the way you bring your self pleasure also impact your mental health? Just let me know. Keep it clean in the comments, Fred, okay? Keep it clean. Anyway, I like that discourse, not that disrespect. Keep it clean in the comments. I am the inquiring mind that wants to know. And if you ask me, I will also tell you my personal business, but somebody's got it. You're gonna have to ask me. Now, if you made it to this part of the video and you are like, I'm not answering that question because girl, you tripping, but you want to still say hello, can you drop me a little wave? And whatever color the hand is that you want it to be, just drop me a wave. I just want to say hi back, so I know who all I'm talking to. Anyway, I wanted to keep it good, cute, and light this Mother's Day weekend. And I will see you tomorrow because I am Dr. Donna. This is the Daily Donna, where we have our conversations with a therapeutic edge. So that was your therapeutic edge weekend nasty girl edition. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.